let mercy fall on me.
Houston, the fourth largest city in the United States, is the model of an amazing diversity. More than 5 million people live and share their lives here daily, adding their own personal flavor to this rich banquet of cultures and traditions. Probably one of the most diverse places in this city is the public school system, where more than 1 million children spend most of their time away from home each and every day. Here is where the future of Houston resides. Over 400,000 of these children are between the ages of 4 and 11 years old. However, more than half of them are considered at risk.
For a child to be classified at risk, it has nothing to do, or should I say very little to do, with the economic situation. Think of a child of affluence who lives in a home where money is not the object, but the parents are simply unavailable. Most students officially drop out when they are in the 9th grade. Emotionally, all of the data now tells us they drop out by the 3rd grade, because that is where they first meet failure face to face. If we saved only 5% of the students in Texas who are today dropouts, the economic impact would be in the billions of dollars. We have children whose older brothers and sisters are caught up in the judicial system. Their parents are caught up in the judicial system. It is a cycle, and although it is difficult to break, it is absolutely not impossible to break.
Mission Houston's about transformation, which is not the exclusive domain of the church, that word. What we mean by that is restoring people to what God always intended for them as individuals and for the way society works.
At our gala last year, we just felt like that the Lord was saying it's not enough to work in the public schools. We need to declare our word. We needed to make a promise.
Let's make a concerted effort for 10 years to see what could be done if the body of Christ spoke and acted as with one voice to bring God's transforming power into the local public elementary schools of Greater Houston.
If the city's going to be transformed, our churches need to be transformed. And if churches are going to be transformed, individual leaders need to be transformed. So on the one hand, we're working on individual transformation with faith walking, but on the other hand, we recognize that God doesn't transform us for our own satisfaction, our own self-esteem, that what He does is He calls us to the world. And so faith walking is our personal expression of transformation, and the Whole and Healthy Children Initiative is the public corporate demonstration of God's transforming power.
We're focusing many of our efforts in Whole and Healthy Children in just a handful of geographic locations where we'll have a story to tell.
The faith walking that I went to was in January, and I think in maybe March or April of that same year, we received an email that said there's going to be this mentoring project.
Sheridan Elementary is a campus that has about 450 students. We're about 97% free and reduced lunch. About 75% Hispanic, 25% African American. The partnership with Mission Houston was very fortunate. It just kind of happened, and one of the things that occurred is they were in a school called Gordon Elementary, and the principal at Gordon, Triella Epps, happens to be a very good friend of mine. She kind of prodded them or directed them to come over and meet with me last spring.
Kendra is a 10-year-old 4th grader. Kendra, what would you like to do? What are your interests? When you grow up, what sounds good to you? What would you like? She said, well, one of the things I want to do, I'd like to be a writer. I said, well, you know what, Kendra? I'm a writer. So I'm going to see what can I do to help you to be a good writer.
So I started attending meetings on that, and it ended up that I did feel a leading to go ahead and participate in the mentor process, and ultimately to be the coordinator of that for the North Channel groups. As what we're doing is taking time from our work day to go into the school and mentor for an hour with this particular student. 95% of the kids are what they call at risk in the school. I live in the Woodlands, which is like 44 miles from that school, also from where I work, so I've had no involvement around here in the community.
So we came up with some ideas, and the main thing was I was looking for was mentors. I wanted, adult advocates for my children. And then as that went on, we rolled into the makeover, and that happened back in the fall. They got to network, and it was really cool to watch the leaders of these churches from one church working with a group with another church, and to see people from the Chinese church working with the church of Willow Meadows or the Baptist church. I mean, it was just really strong and powerful, and it really helped as well with the makeover of the school, because when they left, it was beautiful.
Nothing that's causing us to do it for any other selfish reason other than that we just want to see what we can do to improve their lives. She wrote me this email, and she said, "Yesterday at church I gave my heart to God." And it's so fulfilling and rewarding to know that you can have an impact on a child's life at 10 years old. Think of all the things that she can avoid, she won't have to go through, because somebody took a special interest. Now when I think about it, how close I came to not doing that, and it's sort of scary because I think what I would have missed if I had not chosen to commit to that 1 hour a week.
If you're really doing the Lord's work, it's easy, because when you realize you're in God's will and He's leading you, it's coming from something natural that He's given to you to do, both in your desire to do it as well as your success in doing it. And we clearly have a mission. When we go in there every week and see those little kids that we're interfacing with, those kids are our mission, and we know that. And saying that, those kids aren't the only ones that are our mission. Their classmates are our mission. The administrative people in the school are our mission. The parents are our mission. And so by just taking this simple step of spending an hour a week with each one of those children, the impact we're having in this community is just phenomenal. And over time, we'll really make a difference. We'll make a change.
I think it's changed the culture and the climate of the school for the better. I just think it's always really good when the kids are happy. If they're looking forward to something, that's what's going to motivate them. And having that mentor come in and be able to talk to them, that's going to be what's successful for them.
I gave Kendra, it was something that I already had at my house, but it was a big puzzle, all the countries of the world. And I gave this to her, and I said, "Kendra, I want you to look at all these countries. Someday you are going to go to other nations." I don't know what God has for that child, but I know He's got a special plan for her. And to think that I could have a little part in that, that thrills me.
Greater things are still to be done in this city.
There's two things that God uses to transform the city. One is that in every city that's being transformed, there's this prayer movement where people in their prayer closets and in their homes and in their congregations, in their neighborhoods, begin to pray with one heart that God would bring transformation. Imagine what would happen in our city if tens of thousands of people were praying for the public schools. The other thing that brings transformation is when God unifies His body. The unchurched world looks at the division in the body of Christ and they say, "You look just like us." When the unchurched world sees the power of God to help us come together in service to the poor, to the lost, to the marginalized, to the disenfranchised, they see a power at work that the government can't legislate and that the business world can't manufacture. Mobilized by prayer, unified as one voice, one body, then mobilized to serve. That's where transformation is going to come from.
Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still